Beat him senseless.
You and me and you, we gonna throw down. That's right, we gonna get serious.
You can run, but you can't hide.
It's time for the Fuller Broadcast with your host, Jeff Fuller.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fuller Broadcast Mania. I'm here. Hang on for a second. Sorry about that. I talk fighters all around the world, from UFC, bare knuckle, MMA fighting, street beats, to talk about their careers and a lot more around the world. You know, get the information about them so fans can know all about their fighters, their favorite fighters. And so I'm going to give my shout outs to my sponsors real quick. Then we're going to bring her on. She's an awesome special guest, so be ready for her. All right, before I give all the name shout outs, make sure you guys go to all our sponsors page and like and share and follow for all your needs, especially with D&D bait, custom baits. Make your catch great fish, quality fish around the ocean, lakes, rivers, you name it. Catch any quality fish. Cafetito Banquet, they're out in Casa Grande locally. They make like cups and stuff, like Red Bull's cups. I'm not sure if you can really see it. They make cups, they make T-shirts, they make mugs. You can put your picture, your family, names, anything you like for your special birthday, wife, you know, if she's upset, or your husband. Just buy them some gifts, check them out. Cherylicious, Arizona. They're also local here in Arizona and Casa Grande, Eloy. Which is, you want to talk about your sponsors real quick, buddy? Then we'll bring
the Twisted Witches Stitches, custom tapestry and design, crochet work, all kinds of custom designs, toys, stuffed animals, blankets, sweaters. Hit the Twisted Witches Stitches and see what she can knit up for you. All right, so guess what? Our special guest just recently had a fight at UFC last week. Got an awesome win. Earned her way to the top 50 in her weight division. Let's bring on Miranda Maverick. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we appreciate that. So before we talk more about, what gyms and whatnot during the interview, give us a little detail about before you started your career, how you enjoyed the fighting before you got to UFC.
Yeah, so when I was 16, almost 17, I started jiu-jitsu, fell in love with it within a couple weeks, mainly from the self-defense perspective in Missouri State, which is where I lived, and started fighting. And actually where I'm at right now teaching seminars, it's 18 years old is when you can start fighting. So right before I turned 18, I basically decided I wanted to try having a fight. And if I won and I did well in the fight and it felt good hitting the girl in the face, basically, and I wasn't apologizing the whole time, I was going to go be the best I could be. And if I lost or I didn't like how it felt, I was never going to do it again, and it'd be a mark off the bucket list. So I had my first fight as soon as I turned 18, did very well, won in the first 2 minutes of the first round, and went on to have an 7-1 amateur record within a year. I turned pro the week that I turned 19, a week before I turned 19, and fought for Invicta FC for many years. And eventually, once COVID hit, I was actually supposed to be booked on the first card that got canceled from COVID, that Woodley card, and was supposed to fight against Ashley Evans Smith. Had the contract signed and everything, and got a call that the contract was pulled. That was very unfortunate, but it was because the whole card got canceled and everything from COVID. They didn't know if they were even going to have fights anymore at that point. Ended up getting a call from them again to have my debut in June of 2020. And the rest is kind of history. So won a lot, had a lot of experience, won that Invicta tournament where I fought 3 times in a night. And that's kind of what got my name on the board, and went from there to fighting for the UFC.
Sounds like you had quite a interesting start to your career there. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties on our side over here. The button was not working to adjust the screen. Jeff, would you like to go ahead and start it out asking some questions?
All right. All right. So with all the training you had, what gym that you go to and your coaches that help you go through all your training?
Yeah, so now, of course, my gym is much different than where I started at. I started in Springfield, Missouri at Springfield Fight Club and had my jujitsu and striking coaches. It was very separated at the time. I was their first fighter that they had for like a whole generation. Zach Cummings started at that gym. Michael Johnson started at that gym. And then they moved on once they basically started training full time and kept fighting. And for me, I was the first female to kind of come back to that gym. And I was the first fighter for 10 plus years. So it was pretty awesome to kind of start that new generation of fighters within that gym. Now they have like 20 to 30 fighters actively competing, both amateur and professional, which is pretty awesome. I moved from there out to Virginia for grad school, and I ended up training out at the House of Muay Thai and Element BJJ out there in Norfolk. And now I'm in Denver, Colorado, which is where I moved to in 2021, I believe it was, and moved out here to Denver and train at Easton Training Center in Denver, and also the Pound for Pound Muay Thai based in Littleton, Colorado. So my head coaches are Elliot Marshall and then Justin Houghton, and they're both the owners of those gyms.
Definitely, it sounds good. So when is your next fight? When can we look to see you back in the octagon?
I wish I got to decide that. You know, I feel like a lot of fans don't know. I don't get to decide those kind of things. When you're in the top 3, you have a little bit more leverage, or if you've been a champ before, or buddy up with people. But for me, it's just like I take whatever fights they put in front of me. I try my best to stay fit and healthy, ready for short notices, which is always the goal, you know, to be able to fight and get right back in there. Just like I did this past year, I fought 3 weeks apart, and that's fine with me. As long as I'm not getting hurt or anything, I jump right back in there and try to get back in. But I wish I could fight in May at the St. Louis fight in Missouri, just because that'd be near my home state. That'd be pretty awesome. But UFC doesn't really care about having local people fight local anymore, just because they make most of their money off of pay-per-view and everything. So we'll see. I've put my hat in the ring. I've said that I want short notices and or want that Casey O'Neill or Vivian Arau fight. And so we'll see if that ends up happening. I messaged both of them personally, and neither of them responded to me, even though they saw the message. So just waiting. Hopefully I hear something from the matchmaker soon. Whether it's those two or not, I don't know. We'll see.
Definitely. Well, whenever you get word, we'd love to have you back on so you could break some news here and let us know.
All right.
So, with all the experience you had during your career in fighting, you know, did you have any jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing, Muay Thai to help that training and get to that level where you're at in the UFC right now?
Yeah, like I said, I started with jiu-jitsu when I was 16, almost 17. So I started with Brazilian jiu-jitsu when I started fighting, and that was kind of my home. You know, I just got done getting my black belt in January, so it's been quite the long journey, 9.5 years or so. So that's been pretty exciting. And then when I moved out to Virginia, my main focus was like the Muay Thai and the jiu-jitsu. And so I can say now that I feel like I'm very well-rounded. My striking has caught up to my grappling. I've always been a pretty good wrestler, even though I don't have like a wrestling background. I'm very strong. I grew up, you know, on a ranch working hard. So I have that physical strength, and, you know, I work all elements now. I work kickboxing, I work Muay Thai, I work wrestling, I work grappling, MMA grappling, wall work, which is a sport in and of itself, you know. So I work all of it now, and started with jiu-jitsu.
Would you say that the farm life, as people call it, would you say that helped you in building your inner strength and being able to push yourself through and say, you know what, I think that I can do this because, you know, I give shots to full grown bulls, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. I know people like that, you know, that pushes them. I mean, is that something that kind of drives you?
Yeah, it doesn't just push me. It's like the hardest days I've had have been on the ranch, not in the fight, not in the ring. You know, I've had hard days in training, but when I started out, like, I was very physically strong, and that's because of the farm work that I grew up doing, or the ranch work, as my dad would correct me. You know, working cattle, picking up all the feed sacks. I would be picking up a 50-pound feed sack at the age of 5, you know, and carrying it around, or picking up 2 buckets of feed. And people don't understand that strength when you're young, like, gets built into your muscles. I didn't have to work on building muscle when I got older. It was already in every fiber of me to where I'm very physically strong. And so that really credited me a lot, especially in my earlier years in MMA, where just strength alone could kind of bully people and make it work. Now I'm finally to a level where just bullying people physically doesn't work, but it definitely helped me at the beginning. It's helped me with my entire career as far as not having to focus on that. I don't have to lift weights. I'm already at that level and now get to focus on technique. And that ranch work also taught me the discipline. It taught me the work ethic that I needed to keep going. And I'd say it's not just the ranch work, but how I was raised in general, with very high expectations, and you don't quit. Like everything was about sacrifice and responsibility and making sure that you don't quit just because you want to. It's one thing to quit something you're not good at and there's other opportunities. It's another because you don't want to lift something. Like there was always somebody in danger. There was always a life on the line, whether it be an animal or a person's on the ranch. So you had to pay attention, be aware, and learn that IQ, that also gets shown in the cage with fight IQ.
I would definitely have to agree
That
there.
sounds good.
As a fighter myself, I would definitely have to agree there. Doing the farm work and the ranch hand work would definitely add to your cardio and your physical inner strength and mental preparation. So,
All right.
who are your coaches and your sponsors?
Yeah, I already said that part kind of, but Elliot Marshall and Justin Houghton, who own Easton Training Center Denver and Pound for Pound Muay Thai. All my sponsors are on my Instagram page. I'm not probably going to give them personal shout outs, but I have everything from water filters to shoes that I wear to meals that I have. I have a meat, like literal meat meals if you guys go, and it's pretty awesome to get that already like frozen packaged for me to where I get it home. It takes like 15 minutes to cook and I'm good to go and have this delicious chicken, steak, whatever it is, with seasonings already on it. So the chicken pound and also Feast Box is just great. Feast Box is also called Just Meats, so they have that to where you can order. I've got all kinds of discount codes that you guys can use on my Instagram. You go click link on bio. And not just sponsors, but I also have my own gear company as well. It's fearthemaverick.com. So my nickname, fearthemaverick.com. And I make everything from shirts to rash guards, hats. I have autographed pictures on there, things for kids. And I also have my auction on there as well right now, which goes to an amazing cause. All of my UFC 298 gear, meaning my fight outfit, shoes for my fight, hats for my fight, warm-up gear, all of it, is available for raffles. So you can get a raffle ticket for as low as $10 depending on the item. So you guys can go in there and put unlimited amount of raffle tickets to be able to get an opportunity to win those things. So it's not one of those where you have to be rich to win it, which is pretty awesome. And it all goes to a good cause to support survivors of human trafficking.
I love that. I love that.
Definitely.
So last week, your last fight, I was so excited to watch you fight, and your fight had me on the toes. I was like, man, you got this. And when you did your walkout, how did you feel when you started that fight and to the middle and to the end? What was your emotion like, and what did you think about that win?
I walked in very confident. I knew I could be better everywhere, and it was just a matter of putting everything that we've been working on in training. I knew if I showed up the best version of myself, there would be no competition really, because we've been working so much on like such a smart game plan, such good fight IQ. Thank you, person who put that comment. But it was great, the fight IQ that I had in there and the game plan that we walked in there with. I still made a couple mistakes. If I could erase 30 seconds of that fight, then it would have been perfect for my way. Like take away the suplex that happened and the back fist that happened, and I had just dominated the rest of the fight. And so I felt very good to be able to go in there and show that I have my striking very improved, and everything really improved in my opinion. So with that, getting that win at the fight, and as I was listening to the people talking about saying that win would put you in the top 15, to me, I think you're a top five fighter. And how do you feel about being in the top 15 in your weight class? Very good. When I started in the UFC, I got put in the top 15 within my first two fights, and then I lost to Macy Barber, right? I don't think I lost. It was a big robbery, but lost to Macy Barber. Then I lost to Erin Blanchfield, which was a legitimate loss. And so it just really sucked. I got kind of kicked back out of the rankings, but I've always been on that like number 16, number 15 spot ever since. And so now to be kind of solidified as number 14 right now is pretty good. I want to keep working my way up the ladder. I think I'm in that top 10, top 5 range pretty soon too. I'm hoping to be in the top 10 by the end of 2024 if I can get some fights booked. I'm hoping to have 2 more fights this year if it all goes as planned from what I want.
So I have a question that's not on our list here. How do you feel about the judging? Because, I mean, you see some of these just absolute debaucheries that I just don't completely understand, you know? I mean,
I think that we need to have a training program for judges instead of just like a commission-based application. Okay, they judge boxing before or something. I think there needs to be a training protocol where they sit in front of like simulated fights, like watch fights on ESPN, let's say, and they have them in front of their screen and they're given like 4 tests, you know, and one of them's like a clear win, one of them's a clear loss, one of them's like a 29-28, but it's close. And we make sure that like 9 out of 10 of these fights, they judge correctly based on like this consensus that all these other people have judged, right? And if they get so many wrong, like that's a fail, just like any other test. And it's like, man, if you aren't paying attention enough, if you don't value damage, if you don't value ground game, if you don't value striking, if you can't pay attention to which fighter's which, or you're playing on your phone, like it's not going to work out. So I think there need to be more extreme tests when it comes to training these judges. And of course, it would be awesome if it was retired fighters and stuff to do it, but it's not like every retired fighter wants paid what just a judge on the side's going to get paid. Like that's impossible to call for and be like, oh, it's your responsibility as retired fighters to come back. Like a lot of fighters don't want anything to do with the sport when they retire, and that's understandable considering their whole life was swallowed by it. So just stricter training, honestly, for these judges and to have them do that simulation testing.
Yep. I totally agree with you.
I know that John McCarthy teaches a class. Mark Goddard teaches a class. There are other officials that, you know, that are actual legitimate officials like Herb Dean and such that they do go around and they teach classes, but you still get these guys that come in that like, they try to judge it like it's a boxing match or like it's a jiu-jitsu match or like it's a high school wrestling match even. And you get confused because, well, how does this guy have this 30-27 and this guy has it 29-28? There's a big discrepancy right here. What is there that they aren't, you know, they aren't intricating into their thought process? Like they should
I'm
have
not
to.
sure, but I also think there needs to be I think part of the problem is there's no consequences either, right? Like I think commissions need to take these people and suspend them or give them some kind of program where it's like, all right, maybe you get one chance to screw it up if it's a bad screw up. And then after that, like you're done. You can't be on the commission anymore for judging. You want to go, like you said, ref some amateur stuff or something, go for it. But don't be on some big page where you're messing with people's life, their money. It affects us greatly. You know, like the robbery that I had set me back probably a year, hurt me financially by a lot.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it could have, you know, like there's no way of going back and being like, well, this is where I would be if this didn't happen. But I can definitely argue that I would have been higher up in the rankings and would have gotten a better contract the next time around. So overall, it's affected me greatly just from that one robbery, that one time that a judge decided, 2 judges, I guess, decided to be, I don't know, see the wrong fighter. I don't know if they thought I was Macy. I don't know what happened, but a lot of crazy robberies have happened lately. I think mine's one of the worst that I've ever seen, to be honest. But a lot of bad robberies seem to be happening a lot lately.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Definitely. I feel like there should be accountability for sure. I mean, you know, 1 or 2 times, it's one thing. If you messed something up because you perceived it a different way, you know, you perceived a takedown and holding to the mat a different way than, you know, you're not really doing anything. You're just kind of wasting time. You know, some people perceive that as, well, that's a dominant position and I have to, well, you know, he just kind of laid and prayed. He didn't do anything. And how do you justify giving a 10-8 round to someone because they laid on top of them? You know, no damage, no, you know, and that happens a lot. I mean, especially whenever you see these fellas and ladies that are just breaking into the UFC, you know, it's their first or second fight. And, they go out there, they fight real good. They fight against somebody that they probably did realistically beat, and then they lose a really weird lopsided decision. And it's like, what fight were you watching? I can't clearly comprehend what you've seen to give this person such a boost over the other person, because there was no real damage done, no active,
Right.
even
But we also have to remember one thing I know from, like, say I'm sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings or something and watching the fights with people around me, and they'll complain about fights and the overall scoring, right? We have to also remember that fights are still scored by the round. So it's like, even though one fighter might have done extreme damage, beat the person up for one whole round, and the other 2 rounds, the other person won, but just a little bit each round, they're still going to win the fight because it's based on rounds. So that person won 2 rounds, lost the last one. So sometimes all that gets very mixed around, but I do agree that judging needs to be improved big time. But I also think that it should be more public how scoring works to begin with, so that we don't have fans and stuff questioning decisions that are actually valid just because they see one fighter hurt more than the other or something. So there's kind of both ends to that coin,
Correct. Like, do you believe, like, if they had like a smart cage deal, like what they have in other organizations and such, where they took people out of it and they had the AI, okay, well, the AI literally watches every single angle all the way around in that entire ring, and the AI scores it. Would you trust AI scoring more than you would people?
I don't know. Honestly, I haven't looked into that or seen any of the research on it. I'd be very interested to kind of look at what it counts as scoring. It might be what you said. Like, are we not counting ground game now if there's no damage? Like, how does it score? Is it going to score like a video game does with the damage and kind of like, okay, this person's draining? Like, I don't know how it all works.
Yeah.
I would have to research that, to be honest with you, to be able to give you an answer to where I would be confident in my answer and be able to defend it, But usually people are great and good. I don't want to take people's jobs away. I don't want to be that person, because that's like saying, well, we could just have athletes be that way too, right? We got video games that are so realistic now, we can just put up fake fights. And I don't really want my career taken either because of a computer.
Correct. I can completely
agree with you on that one.
Really and totally understand exactly what you're saying there.
So, what is your training routine like? Are you training hard every day, or do you wait till you got training camp to push your limits, getting ready for your next fight?
Right now that I don't have children or anything like that to deal with, even though I have a job and I try to stay busy, I train 6 days a week, and I train about 4 hours each of those days. Now, my intensity isn't quite as great as when I'm in fight camp. Like, my sparrings are lighter. I'll take a round off if I want to, take it a little lighter. But when I'm in fight camp, I do the same amount of hours of training. Maybe I'll add in a private lesson or two. Intensity just improves. So, like, my sparring intensity, the focus on me in sparring, instead of going with like easy people or working with other people for their camps, it'll be specified who I train with, who I go with. My coaches will be the ones to decide, like, each person that I go with for my rolling, for jiu-jitsu, for my striking, for my sparring, all the above. So the intensity just increases. And then that 3 weeks out mark, I usually kind of dial back down again, focus on my cardio and my weight cut. So if I get a full fight camp, that is, if I only get my 6 days, of short notice fight, then it's just, let's go, try to get my cardio up and just push all the way until I cut weight.
That's good. That's good. I wish I could train like that, but I'm almost 51 years old. I can't train like that.
Hey, even in a few years, I'm like, if I have kiddos and stuff, I'm not going to be training every day all the time with that intensity, right? I'll lower it down and just focus on when I'm in fight camp. I won't be taking short notices or anything like that anymore. But right now, I'm young. It's time to hustle and do whatever I can to be the best.
So, who currently, or past or present, is your favorite fighter?
Past, probably GSP. Current, Michael Chandler's up there.
All right. And then if you could call anyone out right now in the rankings, out of the rankings, anybody that you could think of, it doesn't matter if they're, a kickboxer, a jiu-jitsu person. It doesn't matter if you wanted to call out Francis Ngannou or John Jones, whoever you feel on your mind. Who would you call out right now if you could?
Macy Barber.
Oh, there we
Macy
go.
Barber. I just want that. Rerun. You know, I want to be able to go back in there and get that win back. I've asked for her before when there's been short notice opportunities against her, and I've been told very blatantly no.
I feel like that would be a
That's
beatdown.
good. That's good.
I hope so.
I feel like that would be a beatdown given her recent past few performances and your past few performances. There's levels. They say there's levels, and it just the two don't add up. I feel like it would be a walkthrough fight. It'd probably be a first round finish TKO.
Ooh, okay, all right, really hyping me up. All right.
When you come out and you do this and you get taken down really easy, and I see her getting taken down really easy, and then obviously you'd control her on the mat. It wouldn't be jiu-jitsu's not very good, to be honest with you. So I mean, I feel like it would probably end in a first round TKO or maybe even a submission.
Okay.
Just based off of the watching the two basically like watching two AIs, if you will. If you put the two AIs together, I feel like that was what would happen fairly quickly.
All right. We got to get the AI system and start doing that. See who's going to win in the AI program.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He keeps bringing that up. We should try to get that program up.
Or what they could do is they could have AI score and then judges score and show side by side and compare the two and be like, all right, well, you were off X amount of times. I don't think we can use you.
That could work. That could definitely work. I was leaving it up more to that. What is the website that has like all the different scorings and be like, okay, they scored it this way, and then compare it to the judges. But hey, AI works too, probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just so you guys know, I got like 3 minutes left that I got. Just so you know.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. So before we get, you already said about your sponsor stuff, but my co-host over here has one quick question, and we'll talk about your website and shout it out to your fans.
Thank you.
I had seen you were advertising pickles, Prowler pickles. I was kind of interested in this as I like pickles and my wife enjoys pickles. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
I would love to. They actually got called out at UFC 298, if you guys noticed. Joe Rogan, Johnny Anik, and them are talking about it. But I have my website right now. They're only online sales in a couple coffee shops around the United States. But prowlerpickles.com. I have 11 different flavors right now. I have sweet flavors, spicy flavors, bread and butter, the traditional garlic and dill. Let's see, sweet fire. I have all kinds of different ones, and sour dill. That's a big popular one too. And I now have spicy barbecue as well, which is pretty unique. So I have 11 different flavors and juice flavors of pickle juice. So all kinds of different stuff on there. Prowlerpickles.com. You guys go on there, order, help me out, support a small business. It's literally just me running it. My husband and my sister-in-law are going to be helping too. But it's a small business right now, hoping for FDA approval soon. Getting them in stores, but right now online sales, get them shipped to your house. I got big sample packs available, pints, quarts, and even half gallons.
Definitely. It sounds like we'll have to order some pickles.
Please do.
Yeah.
So Jeff, what do you think? I was
telling my co-host here. Oh, I love it. Like I was telling my co-host here, I support a lot of small business on my podcast. So if you ever want to shoot me your links and stuff, I would love to share your link. I mean, I'm a big supporter of small business.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being on the full broadcast, taking the time out of your schedule to help us out and learn more about your career and stuff. We really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. Sorry for having crazy hair and everything. Came from that seminar to here. So got in the time that I could. But thank you guys for having me on here. Thanks for the support, and see you next time.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. If you get a chance, get a hold of us, and we would be more than glad to share your links in the group and everything else. So
wonderful.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Wow. I mean, geez. The perfect timing. 30 minutes. Yep.
Definitely.
So it was awesome to have a UFC fighter on my show, and it's hard work to get somebody on the show, especially the top 15 in her division in the world, and talk about her career and, her business. And I'm going to be sharing that pickle business for her.
Definitely. That's a future title contender right there, man. I mean, that's top 5, top 10 material. Easy. All day long.
Yep. All right. Hey, Jason Wayne, don't worry about that. We'll see if we can get her bring you some pickles at Oklahoma. And like she said, she's a small business. She's trying to grow.
Order from her webpage. Order from her webpage, man.
All right. So thank you for all the sponsors that help us with our podcast. D&D Custom Baits. Get fish today with the baits. Go, make sure you go to their website. Make sure you like, share, and follow. Twitch is, oh my goodness. Can you say it for me real quick, buddy?
The Twisted Witches Stitches.
Yes, I apologize. My head's burning up right now. I've been sick the last week. And we got Trailicious Arizona out here locally in Casa Grande, Eloy. They go at any events. Make sure you check them out. If you got the sweet tooth, that's a good place to go to. Buy some stuff for your kids. Get some sweet in their tummies. And also, Cafecito Banquet. They make cups, all kinds of cups with characters, your name, anything you guys like, even your family pictures. Go check them out, like and share. And also, we have, I'm losing my voice. Just Blaze Clothing Company. Can you say this real quick?
Just Blaze Clothing Company. Be the first person in your neighborhood to get blazed. Hit Wallace up. We'd like to take the time to thank you for supporting the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. I think Jeff's over there choking to death, so we're going to go ahead and sign off now, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have a good one. Thanks. We love you. We appreciate the support. Like, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Support us. We support you. We'll keep giving you good content. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night.